So I want to introduce myself. I'm Karen, the caregiver of Gloria, and I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about, some of the struggles that caregivers go through with Alzheimer's patients. Now, of course, the videos that I've posted so far of Gloria have been, upbeat, and Gloria which is my mom, has a great sense of humor. She still is funny. She still likes to goof around. But there, as you know, if you take care of somebody that has Alzheimer's disease, there's probably a lot more bad than there is good. Frustrating things that you have to deal with every day. And part of my purpose of putting some of the videos up for her, twofold. One is so that we can remember the good times that we've had. And those will be memories that we'll cherish forever. And to also encourage people that are taking care of their loved ones to really focus on the really good parts about them and not focus so much on the bad parts, because the bad parts, will really sink you underwater, because there's way more bad. I also have realized that I've been taking care of her, my husband and I, for the last 4 years. We live in this log house, and right next to the house, we have an apartment for Mom. So she stays in the apartment. I have 4 cameras in the apartment. We've been up here, like I said, taking care of her for 4 years. So we've gone through the process of taking out the car keys away from her. We have gone through the process of, getting power of attorney, taking the money responsibilities from her, which was terribly difficult. We went through the process of her being very independent in her apartment to now everything being locked down, including the refrigerator, just because of, her inability to process what's appropriate to eat and what's appropriate to feed the dog, and all these different kinds of things, and leaving food out overnight and sticking it in really strange places. And so we've gone through this process. We've gone through the process of going to adult day health a couple days a week, having sitters full time during the day while we're at work. And now we're in a process where I take her to adult day health 5 days a week. And I have some sitting time on the weekends to give me a little bit of a break. And then I have a couple evenings a week where I now have a sitter. I recently started that because I don't have time to do anything, because she needs 24-hour supervision, really. She does stay alone at night. I do have the cameras. They ding me if she's awake, especially the outside camera. Otherwise, she does pretty well. She sleeps pretty well. There are some nights she doesn't, but if I get up to go to the bathroom or something, I always check the cameras and make sure. A little bit about me. I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. There's 3 of us. I have 2 older brothers. One of them lives on a ranch across the road from us. And he and his wife, Susan, are very interactive with Mom's care. But he does travel quite frequently. They also have a home in Colorado, and about in the wintertime, not as much, but in the spring and summer and fall months, they're in Colorado maybe 10 days every 6 weeks or so. My other brother lives in Denver, and so he provides financial support, and so that's terrific. But he, isn't able, because he doesn't live here, he's not able to participate in her care. I have been a nurse for 36 years. I run a cardiac department at a big hospital here in Tulsa. So I have a really demanding job, stressful job, especially the last 2 years with the pandemic. It's been really stressful, taking care of mom and figuring out all this stuff for her. And it's really fascinating with Alzheimer's. It's almost as if, you watch the transition of a child, from the toddler age to, a little bit older and walking and dressing themselves, um and it's the same thing for us. They're very independent, and little by little they lose their independence, and you have to take over more of their care. The main problem I have found as a daughter of a caregiver that's a daughter is that you can't treat your parents like you treat your children. You can't discipline them like you discipline children. Um, it's just a completely different dynamic, and you have a completely different relationship with them than you do a child. Although sometimes they can't even function as well as a small child does. And there's a lot of mental stress that comes with that. There's guilt. My mom, I mean, no matter how much I do for her, she still, where's Karen? Where's Karen? Where's Karen? I feel a lot of guilt sometimes with that. I'm getting better with that. I think she's starting to get a little bit better with that. And one of the things I've found is, um, the more people that I have in her life participating in her care, um, she does depend on me a little bit less. I am still her caregiver, and she seeks me out no matter what. But as time goes on, she doesn't really have time reference at all. Um, I think she is easing up a little bit about asking for me all the time, searching for me, hollering for me. Um, because there for a while, I felt like I was the only person that could provide care for her. I again, I have sitters that I hire, um, and I have a really, probably from years of being a nurse, I have a really in-depth schedule. I have a Monday through Friday schedule, then I have a weekend schedule. I do the schedule by the month. One of the things I think people that are caregivers, um, you know, there are people that will help you, but they're like, give me a call if you need anything. I can come sit with them for a little while. The problem is when you call them, they're busy doing something, or they're watching their grandkids or something. They can't come. But I noticed if you do a schedule, and you can handwrite the schedule. My schedule's on a Excel spreadsheet, but you could handwrite it, pencil write it. If you can find people through your church family, grandkid, anybody that you can, and you break it up in small chunks, people will come and help you. But you have to give them a schedule so that they know when they're responsible for coming and caring for your loved one. And I think that has just been a really difficult thing for me to learn personally. I have no idea why. I should have recognized this earlier in the process. It wasn't clicking with me, with her, with schedules and people's willingness to help. If you write their name down and you give it to them and say, this is when I expect you to come, they'll come. And so I think a lot of caregivers, especially I think I've, been around a long time in healthcare, when it's a husband-wife caregiver, they tend to ask for even less help than a child that's a caregiver does. They feel like they're imposing on other people. No, we can handle it. I can handle it. And the truth is you can handle it. But the reality is the bigger their disease gets, even if it's not Alzheimer's, if it's just medical, chronic illness, things that are happening, the bigger their illness gets, the smaller you get. And you just get swallowed by their disease. And, you're trying to juggle a personal life, a marriage sometimes, family, work. It's an awesome responsibility to take care of another human being. You know, everything from making sure they're fed and have clean clothes and, making sure they get their medication and their doctor's appointments. I mean, their full-time job. So it's certainly possible to take care of loved ones that have, all kinds of mental issues, but you have to get organized and you have to break it up so that people can help you, so that you can have some time to yourself to relax and just maybe do some things that you really want to do. Connect with friends that you don't get to see very often. That's been one of the biggest challenges, I think, through the pandemic is, being so isolated. I mean, I have my work family and I have 90 employees that I manage. And so you see them all the time, but it's different than getting to spend social time with friends, close friends that you love to be around. And the pandemic has only made that even worse. And so you feel really disconnected. I would love to hear your comments, your questions. I honestly do not feel like there is enough support systems out there for caregivers. I know they have like a caregiver meeting at the adult day house where I take my mom, and I think it's like next Tuesday at 5:45. Well, I gotta pick her up and get her home. There's nobody to watch her, so I can go to the caregiver meeting, you know. And I think that's what most people would like to go to those meetings, and those meetings would be terrific and great support systems and to get ideas how to help care for your loved one. The problem is that you're so tired by the time 5:45 gets here, and you still have to get them fed and get them bathed and get their pajamas on and their pills done and their dog fed, and you know how the story goes. And you just don't carve out enough time um, to be with, talk to other people that are experiencing the same thing you are. So I just want to shout out to everybody that's taking care of their family members. It is a big deal. It's a big deal what you're doing. It's a big deal um, that you're taking that responsibility on, because it's an awesome responsibility. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've been a critical care nurse for years. I've worked, I've raised children, I've done all these things, but I have never experienced anything quite so challenging as taking care of somebody who literally cannot remember 2 minutes from now what you just told them. And it takes a whole different skill set. It takes a whole different level of patience. And it takes a whole different level of love to really care for a person that needs all those things. So good job for doing it. You can leave questions below if you have questions. I'd love to share some of the things we've tried. I'd love to hear some of the things you've tried. And, keep your chin up. Find a spiritual center. I don't know what whatever your religion is or whatever you have to find a way to be spiritually healthy when you're caring for a loved one. It's imperative, really. Anyways, it was good to meet you. So when you hear Karen, that's me. And it's kind of hard to forget that name these days, isn't it? But anyways, I hope you enjoy. I'll be posting a lot more videos of Mom. We have a terrific family, and she's really a joy. And I've found that, like I said, focusing on the things that we all love about her makes it a little less painful to watch the things that we don't love as much. So anyways, have a great day. Take care.